I'm going to reiterate about color, and mostly color is that split primary palette. You have 2 blues, 2 reds, 2 yellows, a white, ochre, Viridian, burnt sienna, and burnt umber. And that's probably the safest and the easiest palette to start with. There are a lot of problems with our tubes. They're putting them in thinner and thinner material, and so they tend to break. Don't let them break and spill out. Put some duct tape on them and keep them from getting air inside, because air is what ruins your tubes and will make you cry a lot. If you have a tube that's getting low, then push it with, if you have a round tube of some sort. If your wife has a rolling pin, that'll work. And then you just push it up, and that'll keep your paint all together for you. To clean the palette that we talked about earlier, use this to take your extra paint off of. These are your palette knives. One's called a butter knife, and it's an absolute must. The other one is smaller, and I use it mostly for mixing paint, because if you mix paint with a small knife, you mix small amounts, and that means you don't waste so much. Here's another tool we use. It's called a proportional divider. It'll help take something from here and double its size, or 3 times its size, or less than double. Whatever you want. You have many different settings here that you can use. You need a palette, and you need turpentine to clean your brushes with. This is a glass one. It's useful. It's good. This is good for carrying if you're going to classes and you're doing things that way. If you have a tube,
what was in there again?
This is for carrying your turpentine if you're going to classes, because it actually has a seal on it, so it won't spill. But I always encourage my students to carry it in a plastic bag in case the seal doesn't work. And you can catch your turpentine and pour it back in. Otherwise, it's going to be all over your bag and make a mess. I always encourage everybody is going to have a tube that's hard to get off. You just can't get it off. Try hot water. It works beautifully. Stick your tube in the hot water for just about 30 seconds. Get yourself a little type of pad of some sort, and then you're home free. And it really helps, because otherwise you're going to be twisting it and tearing the sides of your tube. And that is costly, because you ruin your tube. Okay, we're going to go to canvases, canvas boards. This is a canvas board. It's on cardboard. If you're a good painter and you're painting in a high degree of efficiency and level, you don't want to use this, because it will eventually bow on you, and it's not permanent it's not as permanent.
Well, that's when you get the cracks in it, no?
Yeah, it'll crack and it'll bow and give you all kinds of trouble. This is a it is a canvas that is stapled on the side. Then you have canvases that are stapled in the back.
Well, which one is better?
These are both the same as far as quality is concerned, but if you don't want to buy a frame, you use this.
Oh.
And then paint on the side. But you can also buy a portrait canvas. These are both landscape canvases. And the portrait canvas costs more, but it is finer, and so that you don't see as many of the little lines in the canvas. This is a different size. That's all it is. It's just a 12. They have them in 12 by 16, 10 by 20, 15 by 30, 30 by 60, and you can enjoy the difference because it just makes a beautiful, if you get something that is single and it's big and it's long, it looks beautiful on this. But if it's otherwise you want to put a landscape this way.
And sometimes you have
This is portrait.
frames which fit like that's why.
These frames, anytime you go into a studio, anytime you go into an art store and you buy a canvas that is already made up, you will be able to buy a frame that's already made for that canvas because they make certain
Sizes.
8 by 10, 9 by 12, 11 by 14, 12 by 16, 16 by 20, 18 by 24. Those are standard, and they make standard frames.
That makes
If you
it
buy-
cheaper, no?
If you buy something off that standard, say like an 8 by 8, you have to have a custom frame. And that becomes really expensive because custom framing is not cheap. So we try to stay, if we can, we try to stay within the margins of what's called ready-made. Break. I'm thinking that probably this will be enough for this trip. And next time out, we'll talk a little bit more about how to make a composition on a canvas. And I'll demonstrate by painting myself. There you go.